Hello, hello, hello. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Sarvalokanam Bhijaye Bhavaroginam Nidhaye Sarvavidyanam Tridakshinaamurtaye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighnem Guru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gajananam Bhutaganazidevidam Gaviddajambho Bhalasarabhakshidam Umasutam Shokavinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Padapankajam Shuklambaradharam Vishnam Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignapajantaye Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shakte Pautramakilmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shugadatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanidhaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Chaiva Tato Jayamudirayet. Namaste everyone. Last week we were looking at Yayati's story, right? We started looking at how Yayati met Devyani when there was a fight, argument between Devyani and Sharmishta. Sharmishta pushed Devyani into a well and Yayati rescued her, and Devyani got angry and she asked Shukracharya, her father, to leave that Asura kingdom, and then the Asura king Vrishaparvan and his daughter Sharmishta came and asked for forgiveness, right? Devyani made a condition that Sharmishta becomes her maid along with another 1,000 women as maids. Sharmishta agrees and Devyani second time meets Yayati and Shukra agrees to give his daughter to him. So Yayati and Devyani marry and they have children, and then at that time Sharmishta also wishes to marry Yayati. Yayati secretly marries her and they have three children. Finally, Devyani comes to know about this. She goes and complains to her father Shukracharya, and Shukracharya curses Yayati that he will lose all his strength and everything, become like a old man. Okay, he'll invisible descriptive. So that's what he will. So then Yayati transfers his old age to one of his sons, Puru, and he curses the other four children who did not want to take his old age. He curses them, but Puru gets the old age, and after enjoying 1,000 years of his youth, Yayati returns his youth to his son Puru, and then he goes to forest. There he does austere penances for many, many years and finally attains Swarga, heaven, right? That's what we learned last week. So now let's look at what happens after that, Yayati story. And today's story is a little bit, I would say, maybe a little bit boring because there is not much story in today, but it is one of the very, very important topics whenever someone talks about human life, what is our goals and everything. Yayati's story. That's why Yayati is famous, not because he married Sharmishta, Devyani, all these stories. The importance is what happens after his death. Okay, that's why Yayati is remembered for. So today's discussion is about that. So Yayati goes to, so as I said, he goes to finally, he goes to forest where he passes uh, uh, many years living upon fully only air and without sleep. And then finally he passes time in the middle of the fire. Then he stands alone, here alone for 6 months, standing on one leg. And then finally he attains heaven, right? So like that, he is in heaven. And there he was respected by all the deities and everyone in heaven. Okay. He was respected. When he was there, he was visiting wherever he wants to go. All the worlds in heaven he used to go. Indra's place, Vishnu's place, Brahma's place, wherever he wishes to go, he could go. He had that much power because of all the good, great things he did in his life. And then one day he went to see Indra. And when he went to see Indra, Indra welcomed him, and then they started talking. When they start talking, Indra asks him, Yayati, what did you tell your son Pru when you handed him over the old age? And also, what did you tell him when you handed it his youth back? What did you tell him? Yayati explains at this time. I will pick some key things he said. So this is what Yayati tells Indra, that what he told Puru. Okay. So he says that he told his son Puru that one should never get angry. Okay. So those who are without anger are always superior to those who always sometimes get angry. Okay. And forgiveness is the greatest thing. And those who forgive is again superior than those who don't forgive. And then man is superior to all the animals. Okay, because human birth is the one where you can do your karma, your actions, and from those actions, duties, performing those conduct and duties, one can attain moksha, right? So that's why human birth is important. Again, among men, those who know the knowledge of Vedas, they are superior. Those who have learned, they are superior. And then he also told Puru that if someone does something wrong to you, you should never do the wrong in return to them. Okay. And then again, you should never hurt somebody by cruel speeches. You should never speak harshly towards anyone. Okay. And you should always look up to somebody of good conduct and look up to them as your model. And you should act like them and never take any words of those wicked people. Okay. So that's what he tells Puru. And also he again repeats that one should always control speeches. What we speak, we should always control. Never hurt anybody. If you can't say something good, keep quiet. That's what he says. Okay. Always, if you can speak good about others. If you can't say something nice about others, don't say anything. So he says there is nothing that in this world which one cannot achieve. Simply, I mean, there is nothing that equal to kindness, friendship, charity, and sweet speeches. Okay, so those are the things that's supreme to everything else. So that's what he tells Indra that he told Puru when he was handing those things to Puru. Okay, so next Indra asks, that's good to hear. So, and Indra asks, so who is then, you did a lot of penance, austere penances, and you did very good conduct. So who is equal to you? Is there anyone equal to, in 3 words, equal to you? And Yayati says, I don't see anybody equal to me. I am the best in everything. I did a lot of sacrifices. My conduct was pure and I'm the best. And at that time, Indra says, you just disrespected everybody, even those who you know and those who you don't know. Everyone you disrespected by saying you are the best. Okay. For this reason, all the virtue you have accumulated, all the merits you have accumulated has vanished. Now you don't have any time in heaven. You are going to fall back to earth. Okay. So what is that falling back means? Their time in heaven is up, finishes. So he's going to take birth, another birth as another either animal or human or whatever the form. He's going to take birth on earth. Okay, he's going to return to earth. So, and when Indra says that, Yayati realizes his mistake, and then he requests Indra that when I fall to earth, can you send me in the same path where the good people, virtuous people are coming towards heaven? Okay, they are coming on a path. Can you send me in the same path downwards? They are coming up to heaven. Can you send me on the same path? And Indra tells him that, okay, your wish granted, but never disregard anybody. Remember not to disregard anybody. Okay, so Indra warns him, and then Yayati starts falling towards earth. While he was falling down, returning towards earth for a new birth, his Atma, he sees Ashtaka. Okay, we will come to know who Ashtaka is very late in Mahabharata. But for now, let's show that he comes across Ashtaka and they start talking. There is a lot of discussion between them. I will just summarize some of these things, what they discuss. So first, Ashtaka says, so when they were talking, Yayati starts explaining about happiness, grief, and everything else, because Ashtaka asks, you are falling from heaven, are you not sad? Are you not unhappy? And Yayati says that one's merit, whatever it is, whatever one has achieved, everything disappears by pride, vanity. Okay, with that, everything disappears. If you are become proud of things and if you start boasting about those things, everything will disappear. And then he says that again, so if one has acquired all the wealth and everything else and remains humble, okay, and he has studied all the Vedas and everything else, so then only he can go to heaven. Okay, so he has to stay humble. That's important. And then he also tells that everything depends on destiny. So destiny is whatever based on our karma we have accumulated. That's what destiny is. So he says everything depends on destiny, whether grief or happiness, all this depends on that. So we can do what we need to do, but the outcome of that depends on the destiny. Okay, that is the supreme thing. We should all be content with what we have, whether it is happiness or grief. We should never get distracted by that. So he says that happiness, misery, both are temporary. It's like a cycle. Once you have happiness and then next minute you will be unhappy. Okay, so that's what he says. And then no one should be grieving because of misery or too excited, too much jumping because of happiness. Take everything equally. Okay, that's what he says. So then Ashtaka asks, you seems to have visited a lot of places in heaven. Where all you did you go? Okay, then he says, Yayati responds that he says, so he says he ruled the earth for thousands of years and then he attained the heaven and there he spent 1,000 years and then he went to Indra's place, there he spent 1,000 years and then 1,000 years in Brahma's place and then Vishnu, and then all that after that he also spent 1,000 years in Nandana garden, Nandana Vana. So that's like garden in heaven. Okay, there he spent a lot of time. He could change his form to any form he wanted. And then after all that, he is now falling towards earth. That's what he says. And then he says, Ashtaka asks, why are you falling? You're such a great person. Why are you falling from heaven? And Yayati at that time explains that it's because of his disrespect, the disrespect he showed towards others. Okay, he says that so everything in this world, whatever we have, even when you are in heaven, is temporary. Okay, children, family, friends, relatives, everything, wealth, everything disappears in this world. And Indra himself says that for those who lost righteousness, they will have to fall to earth. Okay, and one should never speak of their own merit, their own great things. One should never speak, I am so great, I am doing this, I'm doing that, I am great like this. One should never speak. That's what Yayati says. And he says that I did the same thing, that's why I'm falling to earth. And then Ashtaka says, what are you going to do? What happens when you return to earth? What happens? Tell me about this. So here Yayati explains about rebirth, how the rebirth happens. He says that when this body disappears, okay, and it enters another womb, so another mother, okay, and then there it stays in a distinct form, and then it becomes a shape, first shapeless, and then takes a shape, and then comes into this world, and then it starts. There is a lot of explanation on rebirth in this space. And then again, according to one's merit from previous births, all the fruits they will receive in this birth. Okay, so again, whatever we did, whatever acts we did, actions, for that we receive happiness, misery, and the results. Even the form, whether we get birth as human birth or an animal or a plant or whatever it is, it all depends on what one did in the previous birth. So that's what Yayati says to Ashtaka. And then Ashtaka again asks, how can one achieve heaven? Okay, and here he says there are 7 gates to heaven. They are asceticism, benevolence, tranquility of mind, self-command, modesty, simplicity, kindness to all the creatures. So these are the 7 ways one can attain 7 things which will lead to heaven. Again, study, worshipping before the side, sacrifice, all these things. We will remove all the fear and everything else. So one should never be very much happy or anything at receiving some honors, or if somebody insults, you should never get disappointed. You do your karma. That's what he keeps repeating. And then finally he says again, all this happiness, everything is temporary. Okay, I've given so much, I have performed so many sacrifices, I've studied this much, I have observed so many vows. All this is just vanity, show off, our pride. That's what we are doing. The only thing happiness is, real happiness is knowing about Brahma, Paramatma. So that's the only happiness, and that's the only way. When one is not changed by any of these things, that's pride, whether it is sorrow or grief or happiness, whether it is heat or cold, whether it is sweet or sour, whatever it is, okay, whatever we see and think, if we are not distracted by any of that and our mind is fixed on Brahma, then only one can attain Brahma, he said. Then he asks about ashramas, 4 ashramas. Okay, so anyone know about ashramas? So our life is broadly divided into 4 stages. Okay, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. 4 ashramas. So in the 4 ashramas, the first one is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is when we are studying. Okay, so again, Yayati explains what one should do, how to respect the guru and what one should do. And then Grahastha is when one is married, how one should live when is one married. Vanaprastha, after one reaches a certain age, one should leave everything behind and go to forest, live life in forest after leaving everything. And the last one is sannyasa. Sannyasa means there is not even home in the forest. Okay, they just don't stay at one place. They just keep moving from one place to another. They live on what they get on the day as a gift or somebody from somebody. They don't accumulate anything. They don't have store anything, food or anything. They don't store. They don't have a home or anything. So that's sannyasa. So he explains all those 4 ashramas. And then he explains more about the ashrama of sannyasa ashrama, which I will not go into details. And then he explains again how to realize that Paramatma. Okay, he says that with the help of the Vedas and knowledge, okay, one can realize the Paramatma. Okay, and again he was comparing against one doing yoga, that means actions and things. Whether the question here from Ashtaka is whether yoga is in merit, gives us the route to Paramatma, or knowledge. Okay, so Yayati here explains that knowledge is supreme, but if one can't achieve that knowledge, that you can start through your actions. Okay, if your conduct is good, then you will slowly attain knowledge, and that knowledge will take us to Paramatma. Okay, so that's the high level discourse. So between Yayati and Ashtaka, at that time, Ashtaka asks him, you know, seems to know everything about us. Can you tell us what worlds I will achieve for my penances in heaven? What are the things I will achieve? Whether I will go to just Indra's loka, whether I can go to Brahma, whether I can go to Vishnu's loka, or where I can go. Yayati says, you will achieve all the things. Okay, and then Ashtaka says, in that case, I want to give all my merits to you. Okay, please take it and you return to heaven. I will return to earth. At that time, Ashtaka Yayati says, I can't accept a gift from a Brahmana because I was born as a Kshatriya before. I can't take a gift from Brahmana. Yayati declines to that. Then with Ashtaka, there was another person called Pratardana, and Pratardana also asked the same question. What regions in heaven I will achieve? And Yayati explains, and Pratardana offers him his regions. But then again, Yayati declines, saying that a king can accept gift only from the kings who are superior to him. He can't accept somebody equal in energy or somebody lower than him. Okay, he can never accept a gift from them. Then the third person who was with Ashtaka, Vasumat or Vasuman, so his name, he asked the same question and he offers. So because Yayati declined 2 of their offers, so Vasumat says that I will give all merit. Let's do an exchange. Let's do a deal. You give me a straw, dried straw, a piece of grass. Okay, you give me that. I will give you all merit. So we just do an exchange. And Yayati says we can't do that. There has to be always, you should always buy or sell for a fair price. You should never do, I give something expensive and you give something very inexpensive, useless stuff, and we say that's a deal just for the sake of exchanging. That's not right. Then Shibi offers the same thing, and Yayati again declines to accept his gift as well, his merits as well. At that time, Yayati says that because he declined the gift of merits from all 4 of them, all 4 of them will leave their merits just there and return to earth. Okay, they also don't want to go to heaven if this good person does not take all the merits. At that time, they see 5 golden chariots ahead of them with a path to heaven, and they hear a message saying that they all can go to. So all the 4, Ashtaka, Pratardana, Vasumat, Shibi, and Yayati board on those 5 chariots and they head towards heaven. Before they head, Ashtaka asks him, who are you really? You said you are a king who lived for thousands of years, ruled entire earth. Who are you? Okay. And Yayati explains that he is the maternal grandfather. He is the maternal grandfather of Astaka, Pratardana, Vasumant, and Shibi. So Yayati's daughter Madhavi, her story comes later in Mahabharata. Okay, there was a story of a rishi called Galava, and Galava wanted to give some Guru Dakshina, and then he takes help of Madhavi, and Madhavi gets 4 children through four different people. Vishwamitra, through Vishwamitra, Ashtaka was born. Through king of Kashi, Divodasha, Pratardana was born, and from Haryashva, Vasumat was born, and from king of Bhoja, Ushinara, Shibi was born. Okay, so again, you will hear a lot of stories about Shibi, Ashtaka, Pratardana, Vasumat, all these people. You will hear more stories in Mahabharata as well. So, yeah, they explains that they are indeed his grandchildren, and Yayati informs that whatever he did, whatever he said, and all this is true, and only truth can take anyone to heaven. Okay, so he informs that anyone who reads this or who listens to this story without any ill feelings or anything, okay, they will attain heaven. Okay, that's what he says. So Yayati says that anyone listening to this, reading this, okay, will with attention, they will also benefit, get the same merits, which can take to heaven. So that's the story of Yayati. So Yayati falling from heaven is quoted almost everywhere. The reason is, whatever the merit you have, okay, one silly, stupid mistake can wipe out everything. Okay. Okay. So whatever the mistake you have, whatever the merits one have, can wipe out. Yayati was such a great king. He did thousands, hundreds and hundreds of sacrifices. Okay. He was such a good king, and he looked after all. He did his duties perfect, everything good, and he did penance at the end of his life. He attained heaven. He was in Vishnu Loka. He went Brahmaloka, Vishnu Loka, everywhere he went, all the worlds. But he was, the pride he had, the vanity that he showed, and he said to everybody that I am the greatest. That's what dissolved all his merits, right? So that's why Yayati's story is very much quoted in everywhere. Yayati's remembered, Yayati's fall from heaven is quoted by everyone. Okay, this is the important story that's in Mahabharata. Before we go further, I think we'll look at the next stories, which is Shantanu, Ganga, all their birth on earth. Probably we're starting some of the Mahabharata stories next. Okay, before we go there, any questions at this time, this week's stories? I know it's a lot for children, probably some of the discussion that Yayati and Astaka had, rebirth, karmas, all these things, probably difficult to understand. It's okay if you find it difficult, it's okay. Any questions? Yes, Akila.
If Yayati was in the woods, how did he go to heaven?
Yayati was in?
If Yayati lived in the woods, then how did he just randomly come to heaven?
Yayati, at the end of his life on earth, after renouncing his kingdom, he's handing over his kingdom to Puru, he went to forest. There he was doing a lot of penance. He was standing on one leg, and in between the fires, he was doing a lot of penance and worship, and he died. Okay, and then he attained heaven.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, he died, and then he attained heaven.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay. The next thing, then let's just look at our usual other topic, how to behave and conducts. Okay, so conduct wise, today's topic is appearance. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that what it says good conduct here. So it says one should dress one's hair. Okay, so keep your hair clean and tidy. So the reason again here is not specific to this line, but related to this is here again at the end of tip of our hair. It is said that Alakshmi Jeshta, so Lakshmi's biggest sister, she lives in that. Okay, so that's why whenever your elders might have told you, when you're normally hair should be tied, it should not kept open. Okay, especially when you're especially normally in the olden days people used to say always tie, but these days people don't like tying hairs. Okay, so but at least when doing pujas and things, cooking and all these kind of things, one says that are giving gift and all these kind of things, one says that hair should be tied. Okay, and obviously one should wash their teeth, worship the deities. Okay, do all those things. The other thing, second one here, never wear a sandal or clothes that have been worn by others. Okay, it says used ones should never wear them. Again, that's important. And then never look in unpolished, dirty, damaged mirrors. Never look in yourself in those things. And then the last one is again, I think practical. It's again the one before that, never shave sitting facing east or north, but it's very difficult when you go to barber shop, asking them to change the direction is very difficult. But the last one, one should never cut hair or nails after taking food. This is again, if cutting hair or cutting nails, one should do in the early morning before taking bath. It says after that, taking food, that means you have done your bath, prayers, everything. Okay, so after that one should not do. Okay, so that's first part. The second one, answering nature's call. What is nature's call? Nature's call is going to toilets. Okay, going to toilet. So that's a natural call. You have to go for that. When it calls, you have to go, right? So when you are going to toilet, okay, what it says is you should never urinate, okay, or go in high roads, okay, on the roads towards senior person people, in cow pens, that means where cows are living tied up, or fields where it is food is growing, or on the ashes, or on the fire, places near where people are living, or on waters. Okay, waters like rivers, lakes, wells, ocean, all these things should never urinate or do poo. Okay, so again, this is important. The reason I say this is funny, but the reason it is important is because if you go to India today, lot of holy places, tirtha kshetras, okay, people go and take a dip, but before going a dip, they do urinate just in the water or just before in the river banks, right? If you go any of the most of the tirtha kshetras, the river banks are full of dirt, all the rubbish things. Okay, people urinating and doing poo and everything. So the important thing is one should never do that near the river body, rivers and tirtha kshetras and where people are living and those kind of places. This again comes down to hygiene as well, right? So in the olden places, not this many people were there, so you could go away from where people were living and do your urine or poo or whatever it is wanted to do. Okay, so that's important. So again, again, also you should never, when you're passing urine, never should pass towards sun, it says. It's difficult at home when the toilet seats are fixed. Okay, can't turn around. So that's difficult. And again, it's again, our Shastra says which direction one should face, right? So when in the morning, daytime, one should face towards north, okay, face towards north, and then at night time towards south, it says. Never east or west, one should do go to toilet. And never answer the call of nature in a standing position. Okay, never urinate in a standing position. Okay, so, and always, this is important, this is you can do. Okay, after going to toilets or walking on long roads, that means long journey, one should wash one's feet, hands, and in fact face as well. I think I told that previously when we were talking about bath, right? So, and cleanliness, always wash. And the last one, anything you throw from your mouth, spitting, vomiting, or anything like that, you do always wash after that. Otherwise, it's considered impure. Okay. Any questions? No? Okay, let me see what's there. So again, I think the related things, when one is unclean or impure, okay, one should never touch a fire, cow, or a brahmana. Okay, one should never look at sun, moon, or stars when one is impure state, and never bless somebody or touch somebody's head when one is impure, and also scratching one's head with both hands is should not do. Okay, so that is again some of the rules. Again, impurity, there are different types of impurity. Physical impurity, like as I said, going to toilet or spitting or those kind of things, that's considered as impure. There are ritual impurities, like for example, when some death happens in the family or birth happens and those kind of things, when there are ritual impurities, or women in season considered impurities. So there are ritual impurities, there are different types of that. And then there is obviously mental impurities, where somebody is not thinking right, getting angry, and all those. Getting angry is considered as impure. Yes, Adi. Can't hear you, you need to unmute. Louder. Can't hear you. Is your mic working? Can't hear you, Tulsi. Sorry. Probably some problem with your mic. Anybody got any questions? Okay, in that case, Tulsi, if you want to type in chat, you can, or send a message in WhatsApp later, okay? Okay, in that case, we will close today's session. I will see you all next week. Okay. See you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.